In this video, I am going to show you the 7 specific situations where claiming Social Security at 62 is actually the right move. And the break-even analysis chart that everyone uses to make this decision is not the best way to get there. Here is why that matters. 2/3 of Americans file for Social Security before full retirement age. Most financial content treats that like a mistake, but there are real, math-backed reasons why filing at 62 makes sense for a lot of people, and most of that content never tells you what those reasons actually are. So let me do that now. My name is Maya. I went through the actual SSA benefit rules on this specific question. When filing at 62 genuinely makes sense versus when it costs you, so you do not have to dig through the PDFs yourself. What I found surprised me, and it is not what most retirement content tells you. Before we get into the 7, you need the baseline math, because every reason I am about to give you connects back to these numbers. Let's say your last year of income was $60,000. At age 62, your Social Security benefit would be approximately $1,180 per month. At full retirement age, which is 67 for most people watching this, that monthly benefit rises to $1,789. Wait until 70, and it jumps to $2,320 a month. Now here is the number everyone fights about, the break-even age. If you file at 62 instead of 67, you come out ahead until age 76. After that, the bigger monthly checks start to catch up. File at 62 instead of 70, and your break-even is around age 81. And look, I find this genuinely frustrating on your behalf. The SSA website used to have a break-even calculator built right in. They removed it because they knew it was being used to make poor decisions. Personal finance is personal. A chart cannot make this call for you. 7 specific situations can. Reason 1. Your spouse cannot collect until you file. Your spouse is locked out of spousal benefits until you trigger your own claim. It does not matter how long they have been waiting. The clock does not start until you file. Here is what that means in practice. Let's say your benefit at 62 is $1,200 per month. Your spouse's own benefit would only be around $400. Once you file, Social Security automatically switches your spouse to 50% of your full retirement benefit. That is $800 per month. Double what they would get on their own. Your household now collects $2,000 a month instead of just $1,200. If you wait 5 years to file, your spouse loses $48,000 in spousal benefits that cannot be recovered. That number does not appear anywhere in the break-even chart. Reason 2, your health history changes the math entirely. You need to live to 76 to break even between filing at 62 versus 67. You need to live to 81 to break even between 62 and 70. If your family history, your current health, or your doctor's honest assessment suggests those ages are optimistic, waiting is the riskier choice, not the safer one. Meet Patricia. She is 62. In reasonable health, but her father died at 73, and her mother at 71. She is looking at that break-even chart, and it is telling her to wait. But if Patricia's realistic life expectancy lands closer to 78, she collects $226,560 by filing at 62 versus $222,770 if she had waited until 70. Waiting actually cost her money. The break-even analysis only works if you live long enough for it to work. Reason 3. Your tax situation today may be better than it will be at 70. Social Security uses something called provisional income. That is your regular income plus half of your Social Security benefit. If that combined number is under $25,000 for a single person, or under $32,000 for a married couple, your Social Security benefit is completely tax-free. Right now, at 62, many people are living on savings with minimal other income. File now, collect $1,200 a month, and you might owe 0 taxes on it. Wait until 70, and by then, your 401k required minimum distributions have kicked in. Those start at age 73. Your investment income has grown. Maybe you sold a business. Now your other income clears $50,000 a year, and up to 85% of that bigger $2,320. Monthly check becomes taxable. You waited 8 years for a larger benefit, and after taxes, you may actually keep less. The smaller benefit that is tax-free is sometimes worth more than the larger benefit that gets eaten by taxes. That is not a footnote. That is the whole decision for some people. Reason 4, you can collect your benefit now and still upgrade to a bigger spousal benefit later, if your own Social Security benefit is lower than 50% of your spouse's benefit. Here is what Social Security will do automatically. When your spouse files, they will switch you over to the spousal benefit, the higher of the two. Here's how that plays out. Your benefit at 62 is $800 a month. Your spouse's benefit at their full retirement age will be $2,400 a month. You file at 62 and start collecting $800 immediately. When your spouse files at 67, Social Security bumps you to $1,200. That is 50% of their benefit. You collected $800 a month for 5 years. That is $48,000 you would have completely missed if you had waited for the upgrade. You are not giving anything up. You are running 2 income streams in sequence. If this is making sense so far, hit the like button. It just helps me figure out which topics are most useful to keep covering. Reason 5. If your spouse has health concerns, their larger benefit becomes your future income. Now, I want to be honest about this one because it is uncomfortable. But it is the scenario that makes the clearest financial case for filing early. If your spouse earns more than you and has a shorter life expectancy due to a serious health condition or just family history, their Social Security benefit becomes your survivor benefit when they pass. You step up to 100% of what they were receiving. So the strategic move is this. You file for your smaller benefit at 62 and start collecting. Your spouse holds off and lets their benefit grow toward the maximum. If your spouse passes, your $800 a month benefit immediately becomes $2,400 a month, their full amount. For the rest of your life, you collected your own income during the years when they were alive, and you receive the maximum possible survivor income after. If you had waited to file anything, you would have missed years of your own payments with no way to recover them. Reason 6. Your early retirement years are not the same as your later ones. Retirement has 3 phases, the go-go years. Roughly your early to mid-60s, when you have health, energy, and the ability to do the things you have been putting off. Then the slow-go years. Then the no-go years. Filing early puts money in your hands during the phase when you can actually use it. Travel, time with family, the things on that list you have been deferring for decades. Frankly, the $2,320 a month at age 80 is useful, but it is not the same as $1,180 a month at 63, when you can still go do what you wanted to do. This is not just a lifestyle argument, there is real math behind it. People in their early retirement years spend more. Medical costs and cognitive decline increase over time. The cash you need most comes early, not late. I want to know where you are in this. Drop a comment. Tell me when you retired or when you plan to claim Social Security. I read every single comment on this channel. It also helps me figure out what to cover next. Reason 7. Sometimes you just need the money. And look, the math does not always get to drive. Life does. Medical bills, supporting a family member, a business that did not work out, savings that came up short. Social Security is an insurance program you spent decades paying into. It is there to be used. There is no financial penalty for claiming it when it makes the most difference in your life. The key is making this a deliberate decision, not a default. Know the trade-off, know your break-even age. Then make the call that fits your actual situation, not the theoretical one. Here is the part that got me when I really looked at this. You can run every number correctly, know all 7 of these reasons, and still watch someone tell you waiting is always the right answer, because they are running the calculation in a vacuum. They are not counting the $48,000 in spousal benefits. They are not running the tax math. They are not factoring in the 3 phases of retirement spending. The break-even chart is just one input. It was never supposed to be the whole answer. That is why the SSA took it down. Claiming Social Security at 62 is not a decision about when to collect a check. It is a decision about taxes, spousal income, survivor strategy, and which years of your retirement you actually want funded. This is genuinely complicated, and you were never meant to find this information easily. It is scattered across SSA publications and IRS rules that most people have no reason to read until the decision is right in front of them. That is not your fault. One concrete step you can take this week. Go to ssa.gov/myaccount. Pull your personal earnings record and look at your projected benefit amounts at 62, 67, and 70. It takes about 4 minutes, and it is the first number you need before any of the other math makes sense. This is Maya, Retire with Maya. We go through the real retirement rules in plain language, so you have what you need to make the call that is right for you. The people who get this right are not the ones who waited the longest. They are the ones who ran the actual numbers for their actual situation and made the call before the deadline was on top of them.